One thing I've realized about getting older is that the world kind of moves on without you, unless you're like volunteering or something like that. But for the most part, when you're older, the world is kind of, you can sit and watch all the cars go by. It's kind of like when I was a kid, I remember just driving around with my parents and we would like look at the different license plates. But now I just kind of, if I want to go do something, I do it, but I'm not really in the rat race anymore. But I see the rat race. It's just kind of a surreal feeling to not really be in it, even though I haven't been in it for many years. Um, but I wanted to talk about something that I was watching. Somebody was talking about how real men are kind of being like, sort of like made fun of, you know, like the whole macho dude and all this stuff. It's like back when I was growing up, it was like you're a real man if you go out and work at like, say like at a like an airline manufacturing company or something like that. Like, there's a few different companies out in San Diego that I had a friend of mine that worked for, I think it was called General Dynamics. And he was kind of like Mr. Gruff, you know, well, you know, if you don't do this, then ain't nobody going to do it, and that kind of stuff. He eventually died of alcoholism, but he was kind of a man's man kind of person, definitely raised back in the 50s, and he was kind of gruff. He wasn't really, he'd joke around a little bit, but he was a pretty serious person and stuff. But if I look around now, and you know, even though he was kind of a gruff and crusty old dude, he meant well, and he came from the old school of put in a hard day's work and then, you know, go home and drink some whiskey or something. But somebody put up a video talking about how the men, the real men, like the real types of men, have kind of been replaced by more of a feminine type of man. Like a feminine type of man is idolized more now than the old gruffy men like my friend's dad. And I guess in a way I kind of have to kind of agree with that, because I noticed, like me, I always worked kind of hard jobs. I was never real like, oh, well, I guess I was kind of, uh, I would definitely speak my mind about things, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that sometimes it's best to observe instead of jump out there into the mix, because people like me at 61, uh, I hate to say it, especially like because I used to be like really out there busting my butt, but I would get eaten alive out there in the um, today's work world would eat me alive. And I have to admit, I've become somewhat uh, pussified, I guess you'd call it. I'm not really ashamed to admit it, because I had a good run, and basically just kind of put down my sword, I guess. I said I'm not gonna go out and fight. I basically just said, you won, you win, you know. You beat me down. Society beat me down. I admit it. I'm not going to deny it. It's hard to admit, but I have I I have no choice but to admit that society in general, yeah, beat me down. So um, I don't feel bad about it because number one, when I was working all the time, a lot of times it was long days, hot days out in the field and stuff. And I remember all I wanted to do was get paid to do nothing. I was just like, I don't even want to. I don't have to keep busting my ass until I die. I just want to get paid to do nothing. And that's what happened. That's where I am now. I basically get paid. Uh, I get paid enough every month to actually do absolutely zero. Now I put a lot of time in. I put about almost 30 years of work in. And then with that came some health conditions. So it's just normal part of aging. I'm not really trying to reverse it or anything, but I've become a little more like aware of what I'm eating. Like I started eating some sardines because sardines are high in some good nutrients. I mean, they're high in mercury and salt too, the canned ones, but the benefits kind of outweigh some of that. So if you eat sardines and rice, then that's actually a pretty healthy diet, as long as you don't overdose on the sardines, with the salt and everything, and the mercury. But if you think about, like, if you eat like just sardines, eat just fish and rice, a lot of people, like a lot of Asians, will just eat fish and rice, and they tend to live for quite a while. Yeah, just eating sardines or fish, whatever. I don't know what kind of fish they eat. But anyway, the point is that there is no point. The womanization, I don't even know if it's a womanization, maybe like the feminization of man has kind of been around for a long time. There are some groups where men actually get together and I don't know what they do, bust balls or something, yell and scream. But it does kind of seem that people like me are kind of a dying breed. So we come from the old school. And I guess that's kind of the way it's supposed to be. Every generation seems to change a little bit. So if there is like as he called it, a pussification of man, I mean, it's quite possible, but maybe it opens up more opportunities for those types of men in, like, say, retail, haircutting, manicuring, other roles that are traditionally, a lot of women do. So that's all I was really going to say about that. I'm not really sure where I'm going with it. But yeah, people like me are kind of like, seem to be kind of a dying breed. I think one of these days I may just get my surfboard or my kayak and just float away and never be seen again. That's like my dream. And they do say that when you retire, you're finally free. You don't have to punch a clock. You don't have to show up anywhere. You don't have to, like, answer to anybody, which in a way is good, but then in another way, there's also a sense of isolation. So if you see an older person, you know, a lot of times they don't really want anything. Like they don't want anything like, I don't think they want anything like, unless they're like old and on drugs or something, you know. But I don't think they really want anything more than maybe just a hello or, you know, how you doing? Because a lot of us people that are over 60 kind of have been through the ringer in life. So I guess it's better to be kind to people than just slam them for being boomers. All right, thanks for watching.